had a chance to speak to the world's best-selling author on personal and business success. This is exactly what we're going to do today for you. We're here with Brian Tracy, the amazing Brian Tracy, and we're going to ask him some key questions about living a passionate life. Mr. Brian, it's an honor to have you here.
How are you?
Great, thank you very much. First thing is I'm really inspired by the level of energy and passion you've got. It makes me so inspired to stay on track with what I'm doing. So it's beautiful to see this passion. What's the secret?
Yes. Well, if you're doing what you love to do, it gives you a continuous source of energy. When I began studying this many years ago, I found that there's a form of energy called psychic energy, which is different from physical energy. And actually, you get it out of the air. And it comes from either being with people who are very stimulating and interesting, reading something that's of great interest, or doing something that you love to do. You get a continuous flow of energy that sort of fuels your body and your mind.
Amazing. So how important is it for an individual to find and pursue their passion to be successful in life?
Well, the most important thing you can do in life is to be happy. And everyone measures their life based on how happy they are at any given time. So if you make an enormous amount of money but you're unhappy, then you're a failure at life. So therefore, what makes you happy? The answer is doing something that you enjoy and doing it well. And so you always have to ask, what is it that I most enjoy? And then you have to commit your whole heart to doing that very, very well. And it may take months or years to be very good at something that you enjoy doing. But all the time you're working toward becoming excellent, you feel happy. And you have an unlimited source of energy.
Which sounds like the solution to staying motivated is to do that which you're passionate about.
Yes, of course.
So here's the question that I get from viewers that say, we're challenged because we're in a job we don't really like.
Yes.
We're not really passionate about it, but you have commitments and you've crossed a certain age or a career level where it's not feasible for you to really flip your life upside down. What would be the solution to find passion and energy in that situation?
Well, I remember a story of a man who was 30 years old. And every morning when he got up, he threw up. He was violently ill, sick, because he hated to go to work. But he said, well, I have to have a job to pay for my family. So he would go to work. And a psychologist interviewed him and said, well, if you feel sick about your work, you hate your job, you don't like the people you work with, you don't like the company, why don't you quit and do something else? He said, are you kidding? I've only got 30 years more before retirement. It's a true story. I've only got 30 years more before retirement. And people start to think like this in their 20s. The fact of the matter is that if you don't enjoy your work and you don't look forward to it, do something else. Now, that doesn't mean that you can do it tomorrow, but you start looking around. And so what I teach my students, I say, imagine that you have no limits on what you could do. You have all the time and money. You just inherited an enormous amount of money. So you're rich. You have all the skills and education and abilities. You have all the contacts and relationships. If you had no limits, but you had to choose some kind of work to do, what work would you choose to do? And that is, at least initially, that is your first focus, your first love. But then you have to work very hard to become good at what it is that you enjoy doing.
So it's not a simple, oh, I found my passion and let me just think this is going to work out.
No, in many cases you will take a job and you'll work at it for a long time before you find that there are certain parts of the job that you enjoy more than anything else. And that is a guide to where you should be focusing more and more in this area. Then you have to work very, very hard to become good, because you will never feel passionate about a job unless you are good at it. Many people say, well, I want to find my passion. What you have to do is you have to find your area of expertise. You have to find the area where you are really excellent at what you do, in the top 10% of people in your field, and then you start to love your work. Why? It's because human beings are designed to get results. We are purpose-driven and focused on results. We only feel happy when we are effective and getting results. And so the better you get at doing something you enjoy, the more results you get. And the more results you get, the more energy you have, and the happier you are.
Amazing. You've just segued into a beautiful topic. How important it is for a company to invest in helping the employees find their passions, whether it's at work or outside work? Would that benefit the company?
Well, this is something that is the responsibility of each individual. It's not the job of the company, because the company doesn't exist. There's only individual people in the company. And it's not the responsibility of someone else, a manager or a supervisor, to help you to develop your passion, any more than it's their responsibility to help you chew your food or to help you to sit at night and read something worthwhile. This is 100% the responsibility of the individual. The goal is to find a company where, in pursuing what you love to do, you can help the company to get more and better results. But it's always the responsibility of the individual.
So if and when a company would invest in doing a workshop or a training that would help people, that would be such an amazing company if they would do that.
Well, the key is to help people to focus on being very productive, finding what they do and they do well, dedicating themselves to becoming better and better at their most important tasks, focusing and concentrating on their most valuable use of their time. Helping people to do that not only helps the individual, because people are really happy when they're productive, but it helps the company as well.
You mentioned earlier in the seminar and the talk that when you know your values and when you know what you're good at, your decision-making ability becomes a lot better. And obviously, when you know your passions, your decision-making ability becomes a lot stronger.
Yes. Well, when you're clear about what is important to you, it's easy to make decisions. I was a bachelor until I was 35, and then I got married for the first time. And before, when I was a bachelor, my primary commitment was to my own success and other things. When I got married, I told my wife that she would be number one, and family would be first, and all decisions that I made from that point onward, the family would be first. And so I changed my focus, and from that day to this, everyone in my family will tell you that I've always put my family first. I'm always the most important. So deciding what is most important to you helps you to organize your whole life.
Amazing. And how does that then conflict with if people think I'm pursuing my passion, but I've got a family, and they suddenly talk about it as a burden rather than as a passion, actually?
Well, many people say they're pursuing their passion, but they're not making the efforts to become very good at their work. Because if you're very good at your work, you'll be paid well. If you're paid well, you'll be able to provide for your family and for everything else.
Amazing. So it is, in a way, you are serving your passion, because if you've identified your family to be the passion number one.
Then we talk in the seminar about getting results. If one of your results is to provide well for your family, then you have to earn a good income. You earn a good income by becoming very good, excellent at your work, at something that you enjoy doing. So everything supports everything else.
Amazing. So last but not least, obviously the culmination of all of this is clarity, because all of this is impossible if you're not very clear on what your passion is. How important it is for an individual to invest time and effort into actually getting clarity before taking action.
Well, it's the same as building a building or a house, or even writing a book, is you have to take the time to think through clearly exactly what the final result will look like. As Stephen Covey used to say, you start with the end in mind. You say, if my actions were perfect, what would occur? What would happen? And then you work back to the present, and you begin taking steps every day to create your ideal future.
Amazing. Thank you very much. It's been an honor, and if anything, I've definitely found this to be very practical and useful. And I'm sure all our viewers have found this to be really practical, and this is what I love about Brian. He's invested, they talk about 10,000 hours for mastery. I think he's invested that probably plus a couple of zeros, and he's just distilled all of that for you on how to live and pursue your passion. And I hope you find that good. Stay with us. What do you think? I would really love to hear your opinion. If you'd like to stay engaged, subscribe to our social media channels, and if you want even more valuable interviews and tips and tricks on how to live passionately, then go to MoustafaHamwi.com and subscribe to our Passion Sundays newsletter. Until the next episode, live passionately.